customers are changing really, really rapidly, and technology is driving a huge part of that. But what you see with that change is that often customers are moving faster than where businesses are moving. And what that means for leaders is that we've got to be dynamic, we've got to be thinking ahead. And in businesses where we operate, we have to look outside our own industries, look for other trends that are going on, and really understand those trends, understand how customers are changing, but more importantly, be flexible and dynamic to make sure that we can move with that change. So the biggest thing is to adapt and to change, and to make sure, most importantly, that you understand how customers are changing, how rapidly they're changing, and that you stay on top of that innovation. And for me, one of the big things is the ability to partner and the ability to work outside and inside an organisation in a really flexible way.
There's no doubt that the world is changing very quickly. We have to get the right raw material, and in our global environment, that's not easy. We want to make sure people are very rounded. That there's the specialist skills, but it's getting people that have that blend. And it's all about being able to relate to people. That's a bit that I'm finding harder to find. The complexity of business and people that understand how to get the best out of their people.
So as far as I'm concerned, the world's getting smaller, it's getting more competitive, and our cities need to actually rise to the challenge. And therefore what I'm looking for are leaders that, first of all, have got strong vision. We want to be the very best we can be. They've got to have courage and take on the issues. They've got to be able to work across the organisation and work with other organisations and with customer groups and stakeholders. But above all, they've got to be able to deliver, and deliver well, within time and on budget.
I think that right now we need to find real leadership. I'm concerned that leadership, true leadership, with integrity, with trust, and a degree of vision, ain't around. And I think globally, there is all kinds of issues which are changing society. The movement of people, the terror that exists, all of this is making this planet a very unsafe world right now. And so I look at New Zealand, small and concise, as one of the kind of cornerstones of how it might work. But I still feel, am I being too critical, that New Zealand leadership needs a bit of a shake-up?
I think the biggest challenge is adapting to change and recognising that change is starting to happen, understanding what it means for customers and for other parts of your organisation, your own people, and how you're going to use that change positively rather than fighting it.
The leadership piece is about speaking with one voice. It's about thinking from a shareholder or customer's perspective, not just from our own perspective. And it's about bringing people along on that journey. So we've got a culture that we want to shift to being much more encompassing, to recognising that everybody from the ground level to the C-suite has a hand in that. And that ultimately the only judges of our success are the shareholder and the customer.
I think the biggest change, with or without Compact, is the move from a purchasing perspective, from a retail perspective, to online. Because at the end of the day, what that means is that people are no longer necessarily going to be expecting to walk or drive or ride to the supermarket and literally go and select the fruit, the fresh produce that they want off the shelf or out of the bin. They're going to want the same self-service, reliable, deterministic experience that they're starting to get in the US from companies like Amazon, where essentially people are just buying anything and everything they want, when they want it, at the time they want it, at the price they want it, online, and cutting out the traditional retail chain. As that starts to bring its weight to bear in the fresh produce sector, that is actually going to start to change the complete value chain.
If you're a leader, you are there to lead people, you're there to support processes. So sitting there writing reports and doing work to board is not actually what leadership is for me. And I think it's about actually understanding that. It's not about clock watching, it's not about all those bureaucratic processes. It's about working with your team and understanding them, getting the best out of them. And having variety, actually, I think. People get quite nervous and they keep recruiting the same sorts of people, and sometimes they're the same as yourself. Why? Because it's really comfortable. So once you know what is required in your team and what's required in your organisation, be brave about that.
If we can connect people and connect ideas, that's what ultimately makes leaders really successful. And Kia is in the people business and connecting people globally. So New Zealand is lucky to have 500,000 Kiwis offshore, half of them are connected to Kia, and if we can connect all these expertise, knowledge, contacts, experience where they want to help New Zealand firms to help leaders domestically, that's a good deal for New Zealand and great for Kia.
Most important skill for any leader is not to provide answers but to ask powerful questions. I'm going to suggest to you that leadership is a timeless quality, it's a timeless behaviour, it's a very human behaviour. The most critical thing for everybody, whether they're future or existing leaders, is to get reconnected to the essence of leadership, to actually find the kind of core and the timeless quality of leadership. Leadership is everyone's business. It's essentially something that is actually created by families, by communities, by villages, by cities, etc. It's a collective endeavour, and culture is essential to that.
What brought me here too, I think it's a very exciting time in New Zealand, and we have to continually embrace that we're on the edge, and with that comes some challenges, but some unique aspects that put us on the global stage. And I think the Maori economy brings something very relevant and special to New Zealand's future, as Maori and the economy there can be leaders on a global scale, really. And I'm not sure if we fully appreciate that opportunity.
The big ones to me is how we stimulate innovation, ideas, continue to foster those ideas, and from an executive and from a leadership point of view, support those ideas to empower and make sure people are successful in doing it. And whilst doing this, how do we focus on social outcomes, stakeholder outcomes, external customer outcomes, and keep our employees engaged, motivated, and wanting to constantly improve and be better for all of us.
Well, I think that the world is becoming global. New Zealand is now no longer down the bottom of the earth. We are now competing and competing well on an international stage. Technology has been a huge impact on that. The internet and the way that we use technology to both improve our business processes and utilise them to provide services to customers, and ensuring that we continue to keep up with technology, that we continue to utilise information in the best way, and that we continue to be part of a global stage.
I guess succession planning in the organisation, and making sure that we have the skills coming through to replace and also to, some of the roles, and also to make sure that we're future-proof. We're don't necessarily get the skill sets that you can get off the street. We rely on people with pretty some technical skills in the marine area in particular, but also in scheduling and logistics. So that's a big challenge for us, making sure we can get those people.
You really need someone that's creative, innovative, good with people, can adapt very, very quickly, and be prepared to lead people through change on a regular basis. So if you look at how the rate of change will go over the next 5 years, you do need to be able to adapt, you need to be innovative, you need to know where the future's going, you do need to have a very core, I think, innovative spirit in you, and if you don't have that, you just simply won't be moving quick enough in the business to lead the direction that the business needs, and then to inspire the business to go with you. And I think that inspiration will be the big part.
I think leaders of tomorrow are people who are okay with disruption. They're okay with not knowing what the answer is, not knowing what even sometimes the next step is, but having the courage and the tenacity to keep moving forward, to keep trying new things. And at the same time, being really creative, bringing ideas from completely different spheres, looking globally, looking further afield in perhaps their own industry or their own country, and taking those different ideas and applying them into the context they find themselves and seeing what happens.
I think what will be needed in the future is that strong emphasis on soft skills.
So the ability to have empathy, the ability to collaborate, the ability to listen, I think those are the skills of the future leaders.
Leadership we need to focus on is around diversity in our communities.
Yeah.
New Zealand and Auckland especially is becoming more and more diverse, and one of the key aspects of leadership is the ability to set a vision for your team and to take people with you on that journey.
The trends that are affecting our business are quite disruptive trends where technology and customer pressures mean that we no longer need large manual control centres potentially in future, and that's a whole radical change in our business model. I guess the implications for leadership, it means we need a cadre of middle management people leaders who understand the changes in the marketplace, understand the changes in our business model, and have the cross-functional expertise to synthesize what's going on in the market, what's going on in technology, what's going on in our business, what's going on with our partners, and say, right, these are the partnerships we form, and this is the way we change and evolve our business model so we're still really relevant, very competitive in a world that will be quite different in 5 years' time from today.
For me, technology is going to be a big game changer when it comes to engaging with consumers. Large part of what decision making is all about is being able to provide the right context to how you make decisions. And the context literally has to be quite independent in terms of where you source it from and how relevant it is to you as an individual. So if you can use technology and the tools that are available today to kind of execute on those decisions, I think that's what's going to make a big difference in the future.
If I look at the new operating environment that businesses are working in today, there are probably 4 words that I would say best describe what we see. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. So the key thing here is for the leader to really start appreciating that you as an individual may not have all the answers. And how are you then best able to create the environment for people under you to thrive and to be part of your leadership team? I think that brings into discussion concepts like humility, able to bring people in and harness the combined thought leadership of the team rather than the individual.
The really important thing around leadership going forward, I think, will be the individual's ability to adapt and to recognise the journey that they're on. What we know is that roles and occupations are going to change drastically over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And the people who are going to do well in that environment are going to be those, a little bit like a chameleon, who can match the landscape, who can fit into that environment and got the skills. So for me, the adaptability and the recognition of where you are going to be key.